You know that feeling, right? One second you're loving that ice-cold slushie and the next, bam! A sharp, stabbing pain just explodes in your forehead. We all call it brain freeze. It's this universal, kind of funny experience. But what if it's completely wrong? Okay, let's get into it and figure out what's really going on inside our heads.
I know that sounds a little over the top, but for real, what if the term we've used our whole lives is just not true? And what if the story our body is trying to tell us is way more interesting than just, a simple headache from drinking something too fast?
Yep, it's a lie. Your brain, which is maybe the most protected and insulated organ in your entire body, isn't actually in any danger of freezing over. That intense pain you feel? That's just a biological miscommunication, a fascinating but pretty high-stakes false alarm. So today, we're going to find out exactly why it happened.
So, let's treat this whole thing like a detective story. Every mystery has a starting point, right? A trigger. And for brain freeze, that's our first clue.
Okay, so here's the most important thing to know. This whole event doesn't even start in your brain. Nope, it all kicks off right on the roof of your mouth. The technical term is the hard palate. See, this area is basically a major hub, just packed with super-sensitive nerves and blood vessels. And when something ice-cold hits it, the body's internal security system just springs into action.
And believe me, that security system's response is not subtle. It is immediate and it is dramatic. It's this super fast sequence of events, almost like a frantic little vascular dance that's all designed to protect you.
First up, you've got vasoconstriction. The very instant that intense cold is detected, the blood vessels in your palate basically slam shut. They constrict, they get smaller, trying to build a roadblock to contain the cold and stop it from spreading to the rest of your body. It's a purely defensive move.
But then, just as fast, the complete opposite happens. The second you swallow or that cold stuff is gone, those same blood vessels just violently expand. That's called vasodilation. Your body is now scrambling to flood the area with warm blood to get the temperature right back to normal, ASAP.
And this little chart here, it shows you the central conflict so perfectly. It's not really the cold itself, but this incredibly fast change from shrinking to swelling that causes the problem. Just look at that result row. One action protects you, but the very next one triggers the pain signals. Your body goes from full-on defense to full-on recovery in a split second, and that sudden massive shift is what sounds the initial alarm. Okay, but here's the plot twist. If all the action, the shrinking, the swelling, is happening in your mouth, why on earth do you feel that stabbing pain in your forehead? This is where our little investigation gets really interesting.
Let's meet our prime suspect, the trigeminal nerve. This thing is one of the biggest and most complex nerves in your head, and it is the absolute key to solving this entire mystery. And here's where the problem comes in. The trigeminal nerve, it's got two major jobs. It's wired to feel what's going on in your palate, but it's also responsible for feeling stuff in your forehead. It's kind of like a single phone line that serves two different houses. So when an urgent, painful call comes in, the operator isn't totally sure which house to send the help to. It's a phenomenon called referred pain. So when that intense pain signal from the swelling blood vessels travels up that shared nerve pathway, your brain gets the emergency message, but it gets the return address all wrong. It misinterprets where the signal came from and just assumes the emergency must be in the forehead. It's a simple, but pretty painful case of mistaken identity.
So we know how it happens, but why? Why is the reaction so extreme in the first place? Well, it turns out this isn't some random glitch. This is your brain's personal bodyguard just going into total overdrive.
Think about it. Your brain is your body's central computer, its CPU. And just like any computer, it is extremely sensitive to temperature changes. It needs to stay at a very stable, very consistent temperature to work properly. And your body will do almost anything to protect it from getting too hot or too cold.
So, the thinking is that this is a really old, hardwired survival instinct. Your body feels that intense cold right near your brain, and it panics. It fears the worst. So that sudden, painful rush of warm blood, it's not just a reaction. It's a full-blown emergency protocol designed to protect your command center, no matter what.
Okay, so now that we've cracked the case, we can actually use this knowledge to our advantage, because if you know how the system works, you know how to turn off the false alarm.
It really is this simple. The next time you feel that brain freeze coming on, just press your warm tongue flat against the roof of your mouth.
The heat from your tongue directly fights the cold. It warms up those panicked blood vessels, and it basically tells the trigeminal nerve, hey, stand down, we're all good here. The pain usually disappears in just a few seconds.
And that's really the big takeaway here. What we feel as just a painful annoyance is actually an ancient, powerful, and honestly brilliantly designed protective feature. It's just a reminder of how hard your body is working, all the time, to keep its most important organ safe.
So the next time you get a brain freeze, maybe you'll see it a little differently. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other weird little things our bodies do, from getting hiccups to goosebumps, are actually our hidden defense systems just doing their job?